confirms this. And you can grab your pen and your notepad to make a note of the following. Matthew 19, verse 26 says, "But Jesus looked at them and said to them, 'With men, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible to him who believes.'" Mark 9, verse 23 also says, "Jesus said unto him, 'If you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes.'" Luke 18, verse 27 reads, "The things which are impossible with men are possible with God." As I reflected on these three Bible verses, there was one common word that stood out to me, and that was the word possible. When I think of possible, I think of possibilities. Possibilities that we can do anything we set our minds to. These verses reminds us that we have limitless opportunities, limitless possibilities to do that which we were created to do that which we set our minds to do. Our plans, our goals, those business ideas, your longing for financial freedom, your longing for being able to put your kids in the top best schools, your longing to accomplish your Toastmasters goals, whether it's personal or professionally, everything that you truly desires, everything that you desire to accomplish in life, you can do it all. Some of us tend to doubt at times when things do not go as planned. We tend to forget of our self-worth. We get discouraged because sometimes we receive no, or we tend to get rejections and disappointments time and time after again. But I want to remind you that sometimes a rejection is simply God's redirection in your life for something bigger and better. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I charge you to walk by faith and not by sight. I challenge you to have faith. And remember that once faith shows up, it changes the dynamics of your life and everything around you. The only person that can stop you from living your best life is you. So as you continue the rest of your day and the rest of your week, remember you are capable, you are fearless, and you are limitless. Madam Division Director, I yield the virtual lectern to you.
Thank you, President Jesse, for those beautiful words, and of course, that part that was very welcome. I really love the words of encouragement that you gave, and I know that it will permeate and inspire the right thoughts and actions throughout the rest of this meeting and, of course, throughout our new week. Thank you again, President Jesse. Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, members, and delegates supporting from other divisions in District 81 and other districts across our Toastmasters community, prospective members, Rotarians, Rotaractors, and Kiwanians visiting with us. Welcome to Division B's Technology and Public Relations training session this excellent Sunday afternoon or morning, depending on where you are from. Anthony J. D'Angelo says we must develop a passion for learning because if we do, we will never cease to grow. This is why we're all here today. We get to learn new skills, techniques, information that will help us perform our duties as officers, leaders in our Toastmasters organization. And what's even better is that we get to use these transitional skills to impact us at work and, of course, with other professional and personal endeavors. Our Division B leadership team, our tech team, and public relations team see it as an honor to have everyone on to be a part of this training session this afternoon. Up next, we have our Toastmasters Promise. Being a Toastmaster means more than simply making a commitment to self-development. Everyone who joins a Toastmasters club is making a commitment to our club, to all our members, and to our Toastmasters organization as a whole. Please join me as we recommit to our Toastmasters Promise. As a member of Toastmasters International and my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters education and recognition programs, to act within Toastmasters' core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. Thank you. At this point, I will invite our Deputy Admin Manager and Tech Team Chair, as well as Vice President Public Relations for the BOJ Toastmasters Club, Dominic, to speak to us about some housekeeping items. Toastmaster Dominic, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Melinda. It is indeed a pleasure to be here, and I'm sure everyone is excited for us to go right into our presentations. But before that, I will share with you just a few housekeeping rules, so I ask that you pay close attention. The first one is that this webinar is being recorded. And of course, the recordings and any handouts or other materials that are mentioned by our presenters will be shared with you, will be shared with everyone who has registered. We also ask that you remain muted when you aren't speaking in order to avoid any distracting noises during the presentations. We ask that you ensure that your computer sound or your volume control is at the appropriate level so that you can hear the presentations clearly. Also, feel free to use the reactions located at the bottom of your screen to show how you're feeling during the presentations. And of course, you can share your thoughts, comments, questions in the chat so that we will be able to properly address them during the presentations and just to get a feel of how you are feeling. And lastly, if it is that you would like to ask a question in addition to leaving the question in the chat, you can use the raise hand feature found in the participant screen or in the reactions column that's underneath all the emoticons. And at the appropriate time, we will acknowledge you so that you may give your question. So these are the few housekeeping rules. Keep them in mind and do enjoy the rest of the evening. Toastmaster Belinda.
Thank you, Toastmaster Dominic. Much appreciated. To serve as our host for this session, we have President of the Grand Cayman Toastmasters Club, Sean Downer. Sean also serves as a member of our division's tech team and one we consider a veteran on the Zoom platform. Having joined the Toastmasters community just over 2 years now, he is characterized as someone you can always call on, as he's ready, willing, and excited to support, whether it's at the club level, area level, and definitely at the division level. He believes that limitless possibilities are open to all of us, and as such, there are no limits that should be on oneself and the opportunities that we seek to pursue. He's excited about this training because he sees it as another opportunity to learn more and also for him to serve this community of Toastmasters and friends. Please help me welcome our host for this session, Toastmaster Sean Downer.
Thank you so much, Madam Divdi. Still wonder if you're talking about me, but thank you. Good evening, everyone. You're already welcome, and it's time for us to get into it. Again, let me say thank you for taking the time to be here. We appreciate your time, and we trust that the engagement that we'll have between now and we've ended would leave you feeling impacted. So whatever you do, don't you change that dial. Don't touch those buttons on that TV there, right? If Murphy Law happens to come in, feel free to knock the screen, all right? It will reset itself. Don't worry about it. Now, if there's anything else that COVID has taught us is how digital technology and its use have been pushed to the forefront. It has now become the primary medium for business, leisure, education as people. and Toastmasters, and especially in our position as vice presidents of public relations, it is of paramount importance to put your very best virtual foot forward. Today's presenter is poised to help you take that first well-heeled virtual step. A digital marketing consultant and entrepreneur with 9 years and counting in the advertising and digital marketing space. She has experience creating digital campaigns for well-known and loved brands like Ting, Suppligen, Pepsi, NCB, Jamaica National, and a bevy of others. She enjoys marrying her love for public speaking and digital skills. One such endeavor is through her newly relaunched entrepreneurship video episodes on her Start Social Caribbean YouTube channel. Toastmaster Rachel has served in various club and district roles since her start in 2013 and currently serves as the president for Sagicor Life Jamaica Toastmasters and the public relations manager for Division B. Fellow Toastmasters, guests, well-wishers, please help me make welcome to the virtual space Toastmaster Rachel Callahan. She will be presenting Communicating Online 101. Wonderful segue from what we're just coming from. Please make her welcome to the virtual space.
Point of information, though, before we continue and before Rachel comes, we do have something to present to our wonderful other presenter. So could we have a couple minutes before Rachel is presented?
Sure.
Okay, 1 minute will do. And may I share my screen, please? Distinguished Toastmaster Esther Gardner, the information that you have shared with us on the Toastmaster Brand Basic, I find it to be very informative and enlightening. There were so many things that I did not know that I learned and I can take away from your presentation this evening. So on behalf of Division 8, District 81 Tech Team, the training team, I take great pleasure to present to you this certificate of acknowledgement. Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Essie.
And we're asking everybody to please, giant round of applause for that wonderful presentation.
Woo! Woo! And here we go with getting your feedback as well in terms of distinguished Toastmasters Essie Gardner's presentation. Please join me by completing the poll. You have just a minute to give us your feedback quickly. Thank you so much.
Mr. Moderator, over to you.
Thank you so much. And with no further ado,
back from the commercial break.
From that brief commercial break. In fact, I forgot to let you all know you're in tune to station DDRB 818. What does that mean? Division, District, Region. Division B, District 81, Region 8. So you're in tune to station DDRB 818. And as we are back from our fresh commercial break where we've earned all our dollars, I'd like to have you all now again settle in with an open mind and come again with your wonderful questions, and let's stay engaged. And I hand over to our presenter, Toastmaster Rachel Callahan, who will be presenting on Communicating Online 101. Toastmaster Rachel, the virtual space is yours.
All right, the hostess with the mostest. Definitely, we look like we need to transition into radio in order to support you, Toastmaster Downer. Thank you so much. Toastmaster Essie Gardner has set the foundation. And with my next presentation, I have to be on my toes because I must admit I'm a little bit of the rebel, Garth. We are in the same boat when it comes to our approach when it comes to PR. But since the foundation has been set, we're going to stick with the foundation and we're going to build on it. So I know for a lot of us, this transition into the digital space has been one that is a little bit forced. And as a vice president PR and as a member of Toastmasters, having to move your energy, your direction into the digital space can be a little bit daunting. So my presentation today will cover two things. We're going to talk about social media in very general terms and look at some of the things that you can consider as you look to promote yourself, promote your clubs in the digital space. And we're also going to look at our big favorite, Canva. That's going to help us make sure that we stay on our virtual toes, make sure we don't have to get a phone call from Toastmaster Essie saying, what is that bit of artwork that you have produced? So we're going to start off with a brief introduction to social media and how it is that we can utilize it to the best of our abilities. So I am going to share my screen and let the excitement begin. Everybody, excellent. All right, so having moved into the social media space, it can be daunting because we tend to look at it as being something very technical or maybe something that we have no genuine connection to or understanding of. So what we want to do is, what I want to do is have you change your perception of social media. Now, every single day we get up and we tell a story with ourselves, don't we? We make sure we've fixed our hair nicely, we've put ourselves together, how we speak, the experiences that we give people, everything that we do adds to the image that we have. And frankly, we're able to tell a lot about who people are by looking at them, correct? If we are to look at this young woman that's on the screen, simply a picture of her, we would have formulated a few things that we would think about her, right? Maybe we think she's a naturalista. Maybe we think that she likes colors, she's into style and fashion, and she spends a lot of money on the way she looks. In the same way that you look at someone in real life, it is the same way that what you present online has an impact on how it is that you are viewed. So going forward, this is how I want you to think of your social media and your social media presence personally and for your clubs. It is a question of what image do I want to create and present to the world, and how am I going to do that virtually? So Toastmaster Essie made a very, very, very strong point in that as Toastmasters, we are a part of something that is greater than ourselves. We are a part of a family. We are a part of a group that supersedes anything and everything that we do. However, in any family, there are things that are consistent and foundational. However, there is a little bit of room and a little bit of space for us to add our personality. So in the same way that those foundational things will carry on in our family, they will carry on for us in our clubs as we design our artwork and what have you. But there is still a little bit of room, a little bit of a wiggle room, a little bit of time for some niceness on the firm foundation of the Toastmasters guidelines. So as you go into creating or deciding what you're going to do with your social media presence for your clubs, and I know we have 215 people online. I'm sure not all of you are public relations vice presidents. So what you can do personally for your business is outside of Toastmasters, you can focus on three things: the what of what you do online, the what you do online, the how you do what you do online, and the when that you do it online. So if we are to look at the what, we want to do a little bit of an audit. We want to understand, where are we? What does our platform, or what does our image currently look like? And what kind of content are we putting out? So let me give you a little bit of information about us here as Toastmasters. Based on information presented in I believe this is 2019 in November, information collected by TI, what they found was that the average Toastmaster was a woman who is on average 46 years old and is highly educated. Secondary to that, we have our age group that follows is 45 to 54, and following that is our 25 to 34. Why does this matter for us? Well, if you are going to be selling something or sharing something, you need to go to the spaces where people are at. So if it is that you're going to find women who are 46, who are between the ages of 25 to 54, of course, or gentlemen as well, you have to go where they're going to be, online as well. And so that brings forward a few platforms. Facebook tends to target or slightly older audience. You have Instagram that hits right in between, or millennials. And then you have LinkedIn that is across the board and is focused on our professionals. So ask yourselves this: with your club accounts, with your personal accounts, based on what you're trying to put forward, are you in the right space? Secondly, what does it look like? So I want to share here an example of some Toastmasters club that I feel is doing quite well. Pace setters, any pace setters in the house? Whoop, whoop. If your VP PR is here, there we go. If you're here, please pat yourselves on the shoulder, because visually you are on point. Logo placement that Toastmaster SE spoke about. Do we have anything here stretched? Besides the cutoff that I personally did at the bottom, Essie, I'm seeing Essie looking very closely. We have our logo placement being on point. We have our color palette being adhered to and used quite creatively. And we have what we refer to as boilerplate copy. So it's what your expected copy is in a particular space. So this screenshot was taken from Instagram, and based on this, we're able to see who they are, where can we find them, and all the necessary information. So this is a very good representative of the visuals being done well. And last but certainly not least, when we're looking at covering our bases and what it is that we're doing, we have to look at what it is that we are putting out. Now we have a viewpoint that whatever it is we want to put out is what should go out. Now there is always a very big benefit of telling a story. Remember how we started off with our mere existence is a story that we tell. So every time we get up, everything we wear, every word that we utter, and every experience that we give to someone else, we are creating a story. So online, it is a similar approach. You have to decide as an individual and as a club, what is the story that I'm going to tell? The base of Toastmasters is one of leadership and public speaking. But the story of pace setters does not have to be the same story as dynamic speakers and Sagicor Life Jamaica Toastmasters. There is always an opportunity to inject personality into the story that you're telling. And injecting personality can be sharing with us a little bit more about who your members are and the impact they're having, or maybe it is a story that is built on the standards that you maintain. Whatever your story is that you decide that it is, that is what you're going to use to craft your content. And then of course, value. So if it is that you were all about you and what you like, then it would be better for you to put up your artwork in your room or your office and look at it and praise yourself. You are not creating content solely for yourself. So you have to think about
Maybe.
what your audience
Yeah.
wants, what your audience
Maybe.
needs, what your audience values. Because the fact is that in the online space, the competition for people's attention and time is major. So you have to work for people's attention. You have to earn people's attention. And once you have those two things combined, then you're sure to have created quality content. Last but certainly not least, you've made sure everything looks good, everything is in place. You have decided on your narrative and you've created the kind of content that you feel is going to have impact. But what is the value of doing something and disappearing? What do we think about an individual who is not consistent with what they put out? Their messaging is not put out. Their messaging is not consistent, right? What if we were to hear one thing today and then another thing tomorrow? Or we hear one thing today and we never hear from them again? Consistency and how consistent you are with your content has a major impact on how well you do online as well. Now, I understand we're all very, very busy people. Toastmasters is a value added for us. And so the effort that we put in is in of resources and time and what have you is very valuable. And so even though that is a situation, there are tools and steps that you can take in order to ensure that you're meeting your job as a PR representative or just somebody who has decided to be online. And that first one is you need to plan ahead. And planning ahead and a content calendar is something very simple. It literally can be a physical calendar that you may have printed out on Word. It can be an Excel document, but the goal of the content calendar is simply to have you decide what am I doing and when am I doing it. That way you know what it is that you need to plan for. You put plans in place and you create the content that you want. The second thing that you can do is schedule. So now there are tools online that you can utilize. You can use what is referred to as the Creator Studio, and you guys are free to Google this after I leave. We're not going to get into that in full details, but Creator Studio is actually built in for Facebook and Instagram for you to not have to sit down and release each piece of content that you want to put out at a specific time. So if I wanted content to go out today, I don't have to sit down and wait until 2 o'clock to put it out, right? You have the opportunity to schedule that ahead, even a year ahead, and have that release in the time frame that you want it to. And then of course there's feedback. So in Toastmasters, evaluation and feedback is the lifeblood of what it is that we do. In the same way, you want to utilize your opportunities for feedback online, and you can get that through Creator Studio to see your comments, your likes, what's going on, what's working. And you can also use what is called Facebook Insights for Facebook and Instagram interactions to see if the assumptions that you've made about your content is exactly what you are getting back. So maybe you have 2 pieces of content that you put out. You put out a fantastic image of Toastmaster Marva and her story. And then on the other hand, you shared a whole written article about what Toastmasters means to Toastmaster Marva. Based on the reaction from your audience and looking at your stats, you can make a decision about what works well, what doesn't work well, and make the changes that you need to make. So once you've done that, you have an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, as Vice President Public Relations in charge of growing your awareness, growing your reach for your Toastmasters clubs. You have an opportunity to go online and be the best you that you can be. Ensure that your foundation is solid. Make sure you're meeting all of the requirements that Toastmaster SE has outlined in what is expected from you. You're going to go out and you're going to create and decide on your narrative, create a great story that's going to sell. And then you're going to do this and do this consistently. So at this time, we're going to take a quick little break for questions. Madam Timer, I am noting my red. What time do I have for this section of the presentation?
You have another 15 minutes for the Canva section of your presentation.
Section 2, how much time have I taken?
That you have, well, you're now at 14 minutes and 49 seconds on the first section.
All right, fantastic. I am going to open up to 2 questions before we roll into Canva, if anybody has any specific questions about social media. Madam Chat Moderator, I'm not able to see the chat. So if you can highlight any questions, 1 or 2, or you can raise your hands.
Okay, Melinda.
Melinda, you can go ahead. I see your hand raised.
Hi, Toastmaster Rachel. Could you probably go in a little bit more detail about how you tailor fit your message depending on the social media platform you're using?
Okay, well, that is a little bit more advanced. So if you're looking at multiple platforms, different platforms allow for different types of people, demographics, and they're built for different types of content. So let's say, for example, let's once again use Toastmaster Marva. The Instagram platform, if we have her home club being both on Instagram and LinkedIn, for example, you might find, or you will find, that the audience on Instagram has different expectations on what they see from a platform versus what you see on a LinkedIn. So if I am promoting Toastmaster Marva and perhaps her story on Instagram, the expectation is I'm going to see a really great picture of Toastmaster Marva or something related to her. And then from that point in time, I will get a short caption and possibly a redirect in case I'm interested in hearing more. I may also be more open to a video with Toastmaster Marva's information. Let's not use LinkedIn, let's use Twitter instead. So Twitter is it's called a microblog in that it's shorter text. Again, we're not so much expecting a full-on article on Twitter about Toastmaster Marva. What we may want to see is a short little blurb about what the content is for Toastmaster Marva and a redirect to where I would have hosted the majority of the information for Toastmaster Marva, or maybe even a video. So the idea is it is not a one size fits all, ideally, but for a lot of Toastmasters clubs and where you're coming from and starting from, let's just get the basics right. And then you'll eventually work into fixing up to optimize for the different platforms. Does that answer your question?
Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
I
Great.
have one question in the chat.
Okay, go ahead. Last question.
Lisa and Wedderburn would like to know, how do we go about setting up these social media pages? Do we create our own email address for our club using Gmail or whichever mail platform, or will an email address be provided by Toastmasters International?
So to my knowledge, a Toastmasters International email is not provided to every club member. So what I would recommend is, especially if you're setting up a platform on behalf of your club, for Facebook, go ahead and create a page and not a personal profile. For Instagram and all of the other accounts, create one Google account for your club. Store the information in somewhere that it is shareable when your tenure comes to a close, and use that information as the core for setting up the other platforms. What you find is a lot of people have issues in that Rachel sets up one platform and then Vinette comes and sets up another one, and the information is connected to individual people. And then if Rachel leaves or Rachel migrates and you no longer have access to Rachel, a lot of times there is no backup mechanism, or people are not aware of how it is that you can go to re-access that account or that platform. So my recommendation is open up a general account, make note of the people who have access to that information and the phone number associated with it. Everybody on the executive doesn't need to know, but we all need to know who has access, so that there is some level of accountability, because Rachel may not be available all the time. The president might not be available all the time. And there needs to be some accountability, yes, but access as well, and continuity for your accounts to make sense. Does that answer your question?
She said, thank you. Yes, it does.
All right, excellent. So We have finished setting the foundation for social media, and now it's time for the excitement that everybody has been waiting for. So a lot of people.
Just to let you know, you have 10 minutes and 10 seconds into this section.
Okay. I have 10 minutes remaining, correct? All right, fantastic. So we've spent a lot of time on social media, but we want to do a little bit of digging into Canva. So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. Canva is a really, really, really great space for creating all of the artwork that you can imagine. And I actually, as you can see here, I'm hoping everybody can still see my screen. I actually used Canva to create the presentation that you saw here today. So since our time is cut a little bit short, we're gonna do a little bit of learning by doing. We're gonna watch a Canva tutorial, and then I'm going to give you a quick run through. But really what I want you guys to do, or wanted you guys to do, was for us to jointly create a piece of artwork. So we're gonna attempt to see how quickly we can do it. We have 10 minutes. So let's do a quick review of seeing how quickly we can create a piece of artwork, a great piece of artwork in Canva. So there are two options here. So one, to create a certificate of acknowledgement for a guest speaker, and two, creating a club invite. So I'm going to ask our poll master to release that poll as I transition, and let's see what you guys want to see us create today. So you'll have 1 minute to complete that poll. So remember, scenario 1, certificate of acknowledgement. Scenario 2 is creating a quick club invite. All right, the votes are running. I'm gonna transition quickly here while the voting is happening. Do we have a winner? All right. So our winning scenario is scenario 2, which we're creating a quick club invite. So I know I'm going to be doing it on your screens, but what I want to encourage all of you to do is you are going to create in the back end, and then I'm hoping that within about 5 minutes, you'll be able to show me if you've been able to do anything in the time frame. So let me go ahead. I'm going to drop in the chat. Let me close this poll. I'm going to drop in the chat the details to support the creation. All right, I'm seeing myself here. All right. Is everybody seeing that? Should be good to go. All right, so what we're gonna do is let's start off with a quick introduction to designing in Canva.
Madam Presenter, I'm not sure if it was me, but I'm not seeing your screen if you're sharing it.
No, I'm not sharing my screen yet. I've just dropped the details in the chat of what it is that we're gonna work on. Canva, you can go ahead and go to canva.com if you're going to be following along with us. If you are on your phone or what have you, you can just watch my screen and see what happens from there. All right, so we're gonna do a quick intro to designing in Canva.
Let's discover Canva's editor.
Are we hearing?
Create a design and customize a template.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
From the homepage, select a template and start with a new blank design. Welcome to the editor. This is the side panel where you'll find all the things you can click or drag and drop to add to your page. In the Templates tab, there are thousands of professional designs to get you started. Upload your own photos or videos in the Upload tab, just like this. Browse millions of premium stock photos from our photo library. To search, type in keywords for what you're looking for. To narrow it down more, add a plus symbol and then another keyword, or use these handy filters. In the Elements tab, you'll find illustrations, shapes, animated stickers, charts, graphics, and much more. Search in exactly the same way. There's so much to
Sorry, Madam Presenter, the audio is out. I think you have been muted.
express your creativity.
Sorry, it cut when I muted. Okay.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did.
Let me do a quick pull up halfway through.
In the Templates tab, there are thousands of professional designs to get you started. Upload your own photos or videos in the Upload tab, just like this. Browse millions of premium stock photos from our photo library. To search, type in keywords for what you're looking for. To narrow it down more, add a plus symbol and then another keyword, or use these handy filters. In the Elements tab, you'll find illustrations, shapes, animated stickers, charts, graphics, and much more. Search in exactly the same way. There's so much to explore. Discover our high-quality video library with millions of videos at your fingertips. Perfect to get your designs moving. To create your first design, start from scratch or use a template. Everything is customizable. Select the object you want to change, and a toolbar will appear above. It's never been easier to express your creativity.
All right, so that is just one of the tutorials that are actually built into Canva. But what I like to tell everybody who asks me about Canva is that Canva is 100% a learn by doing. So what we're gonna do is walk through some of the steps that it is that they've just outlined. So once you've signed up to Canva, everybody's seeing my screen, right? Welcome, Rachel.
Correct, yes.
All right, excellent. So normally, once you've signed up for Canva, you have a free and a paid version. So what you're looking at currently is the home screen. So as you can see, you have your options to select different, you can search for what it is that you want to create in different ways. So you can search via category here. So you see social media, events, marketing, what have you. But then this bar up here, as you see, it's popped down, you can actually type in what you want to create. So if I'm creating something for my club meeting, my club meetings are now online. So chances are I'm going to be pushing it through social media, correct?
Correct.
Feel free to talk to me, guys.
Yes, correct.
Yes. All right, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to, by default, go to social media. So now there are different sizes based on different platforms, but what you can note is that an Instagram post is a square, but it is a size that can work across pretty much all dimensions. So remember, our recommendation or our task today was to create something for our club meeting. So now I have a particular way I feel that my artwork should look. Yes, within the TI guidelines, but I have my own flair that I want to put on my artwork. So perhaps I can start from a blank screen right here, which tends to be a lot of work where you're going to be putting all of your elements together from your left-hand side. If you look to your left, you'll see templates, which is a fave. And once you click on templates, you'll see options that you can choose from to use as a base for your design. You have uploads, which shows you things that you would have dragged and dropped or uploaded into Canva itself. You have your photos. So somebody mentioned when they were speaking to Toastmaster Essie that, you know, they've been using stock images or images not provided by Toastmasters. I know that there are limitations. We're in the Caribbean, and what you find is that a lot of Toastmasters imagery can feature people who do not look like us here in the Caribbean. And so you might find that there's a lot of repetition of the stock or the images provided by TI. But there is an opportunity once you stick within the time frame, the guidelines of what the image should look like, to use stock imagery. You have your elements that will give you the little fanciness here and there that you need in terms of your frames and your shapes and your lines. And you have the opportunity to put in your own text or choose from a variety of text that is there. There's a style option, but we really will not be using this style option right now on the basis that we have particular styles that we need to abide by, provided by Toastmaster SE in terms of the font that we use and what have you. And then we have the opportunity to embed audio, videos, and lots of other things that we can do. We are going to create very quickly a meeting invite. So currently we are in my version of Canva, which is premium. So we're actually going to go into a free version that I currently use with my VPPR. And we're going to use that on the basis that most of you will be using a free version of the software and not so much a paid version unless you decide to commit in that particular way. So to get ahead, I created.
Sorry, Rachel, your time is up. You're now at 31 minutes.
31 minutes for my entire presentation?
Your presentation was supposed to be 30 minutes.
Madam Timer, I'm allocated 45 for the entire session. So is it that I've elapsed, the 45 minutes have elapsed, or it's just 30?
Just 30.
Okay, all right, so I have actually another 15 minutes. Okay, are we clear?
Okay.
All right, great. Okay, so I don't really have to rush as much as I thought. So in anticipating perhaps what we would do, I decided that I was going to play around with it a little bit. So what you see here is recent designs, but let's pretend that we are going to do this from scratch. So remember we said we're going to do a social media base, but maybe I want to do something that is social media sized, but what is more important to me is the look and feel of the artwork. So instead of me searching using social media, I'm going to search Easter, because what you'll find is that you'll have a lot of different templates that might not fit the social media size, but it still has some elements that you probably would want to utilize, correct?
Correct.
Have I lost anybody?
No, well, not me. Go ahead.
Okay.
No.
All right, great.
That's a great point. I wasn't aware of that before. Thanks so much.
Right, no problem. So what I like to do is, if I'm focused more on the theme rather than the size, I will search via theme or via something that would fall within the theme so that I have more options available, right? Remember we said what we wanted to do is, chances are, based on Toastmasters requirements, we're not supposed to use anything with with cartoons, right? So we're gonna actually go through and look through what is available to us. And we'll say, okay, all right, anything that is too heavily weighing on something like this, for example, I'm hoping you guys are seeing my pointer. Are we seeing me circle?
Yes,
we are. So something like this that I'm circling here may not be the best selection for you on the basis that you are told that you want to stay away from cartoons and things of that nature. So maybe my thought is, okay, I like the way this over here looks, a special Easter brunch. Why? I have an image in the back, which gives me an opportunity to change it. I have a primary headline. It looks like an invite. So there are a lot of elements that are within this artwork that will help me have to work less in terms of learning how to place things properly for like an invitation. So it's a learning by doing process, because you have to kind of play around with it to see how things look and feel. But we're gonna pick that on the basis that it has met certain base requirements. Remember, you individually, you can do anything that you like. We're just gonna work on this together today. So I wanna bring your attention to the fact that this has popped up here and says free down here. There are paid options within Canva. So if you have a free version and you select something that is paid, it will allow you to edit. But at the end of it, in order to get that piece of artwork without the Canva watermark, you'll have to pay to access it. And sometimes it's a few dollars. It may be $1 for an image versus $5 for a template, what have you. But you do have pretty good free options. So we're gonna select this one because it has met our base requirements, right? So once we click on it, it's going to open up this particular screen here. So this template, interestingly, comes with a second page that we don't really need. You can take a look at it if you want, if you're interested in using that version. But I'm gonna say we're interested in using this primary version. So you notice that when I click through, that is what comes to page 1. If it is that you wanted to include page 2, sometimes it is included down here, which is a scroll down below it.
Hello?
Are we hearing me?
Yes.
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 We're
Yes.
hearing you.
We're hearing you.
Yes, we're
Great.
hearing.
So you have sometimes the second option that may come with the template will present itself on page 2, but we don't want it, right? So we're gonna click on delete page. Now it's time for us to customize. Now, resizing, unfortunately, is one of those features that are available when you do Canva Premium. If you want to try it out, there's a 30-day. But what we can do here is we're gonna design this, and then I'm going to give you a tool that you can actually use free on your phone to resize this artwork. Because what you're gonna find is this is a flyer. You see up here, guys? Are you seeing where it says colorful eggs Easter flyer? That tells you the basic, what the base of this particular artwork that we've selected. So let's go and let's start editing. So let's talk about picture. What did Toastmaster Essie say about images when it comes to designing artwork?
No food,
Anybody?
animals, appliances, medicine, architecture.
Right. So what are we seeing here? Eggs though, right?
Yeah.
Which means acceptable or unacceptable?
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable. All right. So since that is a primary part of our design, what we're going to want to do is we want to replace the image in the back. Now, we have an option in Toastmasters to either use images of people, and Toastmaster Essie sort of indicated the resources where you can find some of the images. You can go to toastmasters.org and search under brand resources, and it will actually—
Or stationery.
Or stationery, right? But if you're looking specifically for an image that you can input into this software, you would be going to the Toastmasters.org page. Here, most of Toastmasters.org images tend to be pictures of people, which is acceptable. But because the image is to the back of this particular artwork, we may not feature people, because if you feature people, then what's going to happen is you're going to have them blocked out, right?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, yes.
Right. So we want to lean towards something that may be a little bit more generic. But generic within what parameters? Remember what Toastmaster Essie said, what is allowed to be featured? Anybody?
People being focused.
Mm-hmm. What else?
A meeting.
Meetings, meeting rooms.
Right.
Right, things of that nature. All right, so
other people's picture with their permission.
Other people's picture with their
What
permission.
about just designs, just a professional looking design?
Thank you very much. Was that Laura?
Yes.
All right, Laura. So you've just said professional looking designs. So a meeting would happen in an office, or in this case, we are on Zoom, yes? Most of our meetings happen on Zoom or on a laptop. So what we're gonna do here, you notice that I clicked to the left on photos. And what it did is it brought up a search bar for me of options of images that I can choose. Again, some of them are free, others are not. But what I'm going to try and do is, since we're not gonna by default go to the Toastmasters image, based on what we have here, we're gonna search something that is similar to or along the lines of the sort of experience that people will have. So let's say, well, not let's say, most of our meetings occur online right now, right? Yes, no?
Yes.
All right, so how do we feel about this image that I've hovered over? Does that feel online?
Yes, not only that, it has given you space to work.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Who is that talking? That sounds like a pro back there. I'm not able to see my screen. All right.
Shelly and O'Connor.
Yes, Shelly. Thank you so much. It also gives you space to work. But what we're gonna do, Shelly, that would be ideal if we were working from scratch. So let me show you something. Let me delete this. So if we were working from scratch, you see we have scratch here. If we were to click, by the way, guys, if we want the image, we can have it in two ways. We can click on it and drag and drop it in order for it to fill the back. You notice how it automatically filled the space? Guys, yes? No? Maybe so?
Yes.
Yes. Noted.
Automatically fill the space, and we can actually move the artwork. So we can look and we can actually move the image to make whatever we want our primary focus. So what Toastmaster Shelly shared is that you probably don't need to feature the entire image. Maybe what you want is a portion that hints at what you want, but gives you space to work, right? But Toastmaster Shelly, what we want to do today is we don't want to create a design from scratch. We want to use our template, right? So we actually want to replace this image that we have here in the back. So you have an option. You can go ahead and delete the image. You notice it disappeared?
Yes.
Or I'm gonna go back. See this little button up here, top left?
Yes.
Undo.
Yes.
If we click that, we can put the image back. So let me show you the other option. The other option is we've selected an image that we like. So let's go ahead and we're going to click, hold, and drag it towards the space that the eggs are in, or the image is in. Do you notice it's taken up the back?
Correct. Yes.
Instead of deleting it, it has replaced it?
Yes.
All right, great. So now we're sure that whatever it is that we're putting, so when you see me double click and drag, what I'm doing is I'm changing not the orientation, but moving the image so that we can see some semblance of it or hints of it to the back. Yes?
Yes.
So now we have our base. Right. So now we have our base. Now that we have put in an image that works for us, we want to start editing and putting in the relevant information that we want to have featured here. So this is going to be the information that I dropped into the chat box. I'm hoping you guys are still able to see it. But we said that we're doing a Easter club meeting invite. So what's the name of the club? Greatest of the Great Toastmasters Club, right? So all I'm doing, by the way, guys, is I'm moving between my existing presentation and the piece of artwork that I'm working on. I see Marva Francois raised her hand. You can go ahead and ask your question, Marva, while I work here.
Oh, I got clarification already. Thank you. I was just checking the chat box.
All right, no problem.
Thanks.
All right, so we want to feature the information that is important. So we have what you call your headline, and the headline here is essentially what is going to grab people's attention first. And then we have our sub-headlines,